So the first thing it does, it balances the energy in your body. And this is the latest edition of the Mini Ryonex, which also includes frequencies that will reduce stress, help the cell metabolism, and also works at the level of the hormones like cortisol, which is one of the main hormones that are produced in the body when there's stress. So I wanted to give this gift to Max because I know he's working so much, maybe working extra hours with all his activities on the Bitcoin, and there's also activation of genes for longevity. So we want him to live a long life, and this will for sure help him a lot with that.
Well, you know, the thing is that I tap into cosmic radiation and cosmic vibes, and I mine Bitcoin in my brain. And with this device, will it help me more effectively mine Bitcoin in my brain?
Well, I think it could. It could because it creates the good vibes that you need to make more of whatever that you're making.
I literally just generate private keys in my mind, and then I vomit them out. I have episodes of vomits, and then I read the vomit.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Sounds wonderful.
It all happens in my brain. So this will help me? Or you're not trying to steal my brain?
Sure. Yes.
Bitcoin using some kind of device that'll tap into my unconscious.
It's not that it taps into your subconscious, it's that it creates more of whatever you're making in your subconscious so that you can radiate more into the world.
Okay, so if somebody wants to find out more about this, I take it they would go to Mini Ryonex.
Yeah, the company is named Ryonex. It's a German company.
Yeah.
But we're also here in El Salvador. If you would like to contact me, I'm representing the company in Mexico and Central America.
You call yourself what kind of doctor?
I'm a general medical doctor and specialized in energy medicine.
Energy medicine.
And mind-body medicine. So this is for stress.
Energy medicine.
I also created myself one special Mini Ryonex for deep sleep. So people who cannot sleep, one of my specialties is helping people getting back to sleep. So now you can reach me in Mind Body Medicine Clinic of El Salvador.
Cool, man. Well, thank you so much. This is a gift for me, and I thought it was interesting. So
remember
to
keep it near
to
you. It creates a field of 2 meters.
Yeah.
So the closest to your body is best for you.
Oh my God. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, round of applause for Energy Medicine Man. What's this? Okay, this looks like a good prop for me to play with at some point. We'll put it here. All right, welcome to day 2 of the Max and Stacy Invitational. The golfers are out there right now competing. Look at this guy. He's just chilling. He's got his shoes off, barefoot in the little pool of water. He's got his hat on. That's what it's all about. He's got fuck you money. This is what fuck you money is. It's like he bought Bitcoin. He's watching the world burn. LA burning down? Who gives a fuck? Miami, I can't buy flood insurance because it's flooding and storming? I don't give a shit. Because I'm in El Salvador in 3 inches of water watching Max at the Bitcoin Max and Stacy Invitational. Am I right? Woo! He's like, yeah, buddy. I'm high. There's Satoshi right there. He's coming in on his drone. Hello, Satoshi. Great to see it. All right, we're going to bring on guest number 1.
Guest number 1, report to the stage. Guest number 1, please report to stage 1.
Testing.
The crowd goes wild.
Thanks for having us, Max.
All righty, welcome. Introduce yourself.
My name is Ronnie. I am the co-founder and CEO of the Bitcoin Hardware Store.
Yes.
And this is my partner.
Hey, my name is Jamie, also co-founder of the Bitcoin Hardware Store, chief strategist, and we're here answering all your questions about Bitcoin and helping you on your journey.
All righty, so the Bitcoin Hardware Store, it's hard to miss because if you go to El Zonte and you turn into the kind of down into El Zonte, there it is, right in the corner. It's got a cool orange sign. And how long has that been up and running?
It will be a year, February 5th. That's when we first opened the doors. That's when we let everybody know what we were aiming to do and what our goals were for our mission.
All righty. Now, I've been in this, Stacy, we've been in this for a long time, and selling Bitcoin hardware has always been something you see kind of on the periphery. But now, Bitcoin hardware is a mainstream item. You see, for example, Jack Dorsey's got a new product out, and he's selling it on Amazon.com. And so the need with Casa, you need multi-sig, so you need devices. You guys sell devices. You get all the greatest devices. What's the biggest selling device at the Bitcoin hardware store now?
Right now, I would say probably the Cold Card Q.
Have a seat. Have a seat, by the way. Let's relax. Let's get into this. Put this energy field here. I know that's attempting to tap my unconscious mind and my keys. I know it. I know it's a trick. Every scam in the world, I've seen them all. This is tapping into my unconscious mind using radio frequencies. All right. What is the best-selling item at the Bitcoin hardware store?
Right now, I would say it's definitely the Cold Card Q. It's
the
new.
Cold Card Q? Was it different than the Cold Card?
It's the latest rendition.
How is it different?
It has a QR code scanner, which makes it a lot easier for your air-gapped transactions. It has a silent keyboard, which the previous models could pick up the sound a lot easier. So if you're wearing your tinfoil hat, and you don't want any frequency, any sound vibrations, you can create a Noster NSEC with it as well, completely offline.
Okay.
It's got that full-size keyboard.
Right.
Super easy to log into different seeds. So if you're using a different device, generate a 12-word seed. It gives you the first Bitcoin address. You're like, are you lying to me? I'm going to type that 12-word seed over here.
Right.
And be like, is that the same deposit Bitcoin address? Yes, it is. Okay, I feel better. So it's easy to audit other devices and do other things with that full keyboard.
And the Cold Card is smaller, right?
The MK4 is like this,
Right.
and the Q is
like
BlackBerry
BlackBerry
size. If you remember those.
Right. Yeah, I am that old, yeah. And because NVK, right? This is his company.
Correct.
The name of the company is his company.
CoinKite.
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 So these are his products, and he prides himself on engineering really good products. And have you ever had a complaint about these products? No.
No, I'd say people come into the store and are probably most familiar with the CoinKite.
Yeah.
But we are Bitcoin agnostic in terms of hardware wallets. We have 3 simple rules: Bitcoin only. We're extremely focused on that. Open source, so that people who are smarter than me can verify the code and be on top of that. And air-gapped maxis. We feel like that's the safest way for us to approach.
Okay, explain air gap to the people.
So air-gapped means that you are creating a Bitcoin transaction, or you are proposing a Bitcoin transaction with a online software Bitcoin wallet. And your keys, since they are stored within your cold wallet, they stay on your cold wallet. So your proposed Bitcoin transaction gets, your hardware wallet takes a QR code, scans a QR code, reads that proposed transaction, cryptographically signs that transaction with your keys, and then shoots it back to the device that is online, and that ensures that your keys stay completely offline and cold at all times.
Right. So it's an added layer of security, and I think the ledger, and you have Trezors too.
No, we do not.
Okay.
Bitcoin only. Bitcoin only.
Okay, so Trezor also supports other projects.
We want to keep people focused on Bitcoin. It's really easy to get distracted with other coins.
Yeah.
And especially new people that are coming in the store, they have a lot of questions. We don't want them getting sort of sidelined over here. We want to keep them in the Bitcoin lane. And so one of the requirements for our products is they only support Bitcoin natively. Some of them you can modify and do stuff, but when you take it out of the box, it's Bitcoin only.
Great. Now, do you have a website too, or is it just the store?
No, we don't do online e-commerce yet,
Right.
but at some point we might. Right now we're working on our El Zonte location. We've got a couple other little satellite locations in El Salvador now, and soon we'll
Have you been
get
to
there.
Berlin?
Yes, we have a satellite location in Berlin.
Okay, so let's talk about Berlin, because we have not actually been to Berlin, but it's the second most active Bitcoin hub in El Salvador. Can one of you talk about what's happening in Berlin and a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've only been a couple times myself, but there is a group of very passionate people in Berlin, and they are onboarding local merchants, local businesses, and they are
It's a circular economy too, like
really,
Bitcoin Beach.
and they're really working on the full circle, where the merchants accept Bitcoin, they buy their groceries in Bitcoin, they buy their gas in Bitcoin, and they're able to actually realize that full circle with no dollars are involved. And I think they're doing a better job than any, like, in terms of actually keeping that circle closed. A really good job, because that's what we're seeing out there.
They have about over 120 businesses accepting Bitcoin. And just for context, this is Berlin, El Salvador, Usulután. We're not talking about Germany. And it's absolutely fantastic. I've been there a few times myself as well. That's why we decided to open our first satellite location there. It's for the community, the store. The idea of the store is to make Bitcoin accessible for everyone.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of education out there too. They've got classes. We've got classes at our store in El Zonte, and they're doing classes there too. Another one of our big sellers is textbooks, and we sell a lot of textbooks, materials, a lot of education.
You have the Mi Premier textbook.
Yeah, we got the Mi
in
Premier.
Spanish and English.
Spanish and English.
This is an excellent textbook. You know, a lot of people talk about the Bitcoin Standard by Safety Moose, or they talk about Jimmy Song's book, or in my view, one of the absolute best books is the Mi Premier Bitcoin textbook.
It's incredible. It's not. What's really cool about it is it doesn't start by diving into private keys and seed phrases. It starts by saying, you know, what is a $20 bill? And have you ever thought about this?
Yeah.
And it talks about money first, sets the stage for, hey, you've got this money with no quantity controls. Enter the possible solution, Bitcoin with quantity controls, and sort of it takes you on this nice 100 and something page journey.
Yeah.
And it's not too dense. It's graphical. It's got some quizzes and stuff along the way.
Elliptical.
Right.
Encryption.
That's chapter
graphs.
9. That's like the last thing they talk about is a little bit of technical mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
And if we lose them, then it's fine because now you got it.
Yeah.
You grasp the big picture, and the way they framed it up, I love what they're doing, and that's why we stock the book.
What is a BitAxe? Because you sell them too. It's a little device. I just learned about it a couple of months ago. What is a BitAxe? Tell us about it. And how much does that cost, a BitAxe?
So the BitAxe right now is my favorite Bitcoin piece of equipment. What it does, Bitcoin
You were going to
mining.
say toy. I know.
I think that everything we have at the store is a toy for myself, and that's the reason that it's there. People can come and test everything out. And so the BitAxe is it's a Bitcoin miner. It's a single chip ASIC Bitcoin miner. It's extremely efficient. Anybody can run it at home. It runs off a Wi-Fi connection, and it allows you to actually participate in Bitcoin mining, which for many, before the BitAxe, the projects to get involved in Bitcoin mining would cost thousands of dollars to get in, just to figure out this is not for me. This is not viable. It's not profitable. And it's extremely difficult. So the BitAxe allows you to dip your toe into Bitcoin mining and actually learn what it is, what it takes, what is hash, how do all the variables fluctuate, how does that affect my return?
Understand the trade-offs
Exactly.
that miners have to deal with on a
That
micro
we call
scale.
it like a lottery product. So usually the economics of Bitcoin mining are such that you've got energy costs, and you hook into a pool, and you hope to win, hope to gain one of the emission of the coin every 10 minutes, and there's economics behind it, and big businesses support it. Now with the BitAxe, it's a single unit, you plug it in, it runs on your home electricity, and it's negligible in terms of the energy cost, but it's contributing to the hash of the network, and therefore there's a possibility you can win. You can verify that hash.
You could get 3 Bitcoins.
You could get 3 Bitcoin.
From my understanding, 2 BitAxes have won a block.
Right.
So
And the block is worth how much now?
3.125 Bitcoin?
Right. So 300,000.
300,000 roughly.
Right. You can $300,000. And now is that qualify as a node?
No, the BitAxe only does one thing, and it's just mining, nonstop. We do carry nodes at the store.
Okay, tell us about the nodes.
Yeah, so again, for the store and for us, it's very important to allow people to be part of the network and help decentralize it and keep it healthy. So the nodes that we carry will keep you prepared for the next, I want to say 10 years, 2 terabytes, 16 gig RAM that you can run either Start9, Umbrel, or any other open source.
Why should somebody have a node?
Validate your own transactions.
What does that mean?
That means that when you are proposing a transaction or putting a transaction in through the mempool, your node is the one that broadcasts it to the entire network. And so that keeps you private it gives you privacy. You're not reliant on other people's infrastructure, and that's what a sovereign, I think, citizen is
Right.
looking
You know,
for.
with Bitcoin, we say that the transaction is the settlement, and that's what makes it different than fiat money or gold. You know, fiat money, we know that there's a banking infrastructure behind it that's vulnerable to censorship and confiscation. With gold, you need an infrastructure to assay the gold to make sure it's actually gold. You need to deliver the gold. You need to store the gold. You need to insure the gold. There's a whole process to verify that transaction, which is costly and cumbersome. With Bitcoin, the finalization of that transaction is within that block, that network, and it's all on your node. You can verify your own transaction on the node, and you know that it's actually happened.
Total, and Bitcoin's a leaderless system, right? So it's up to us to keep a copy of the Bitcoin ledger. And if only a handful of people run nodes, we'll get into a system where we might actually have de facto leaders. One of the great things about Bitcoin is anybody can buy a $200 or $300 piece of equipment, download a copy of the ledger, and stay in sync with the rest of the network. So we can maintain that leaderlessness, and everybody has a copy of everything.
Right. Now, we have a program here in El Salvador called Node Nation.
Yeah.
And so you guys are familiar with it, and can you talk a little bit about it? You're not the organizers of Node Nation, but you probably know about it since you sell nodes. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great project. I mean, the team running behind it, we keep in touch with them, and it's extremely
Papusa's game?
important.
Do you know
Papusa G?
Papusa's
Yeah,
game?
of course. And it's an extremely important project. We have a similar mission, which is getting as many nodes in the hands of the people as possible. Because for me specifically, I'm still relatively new to Bitcoin. I don't have the fuck you money quite yet. But it was all really just theoretical when I first landed in El Salvador. I would come to these events, and I would hear these things, and I was like, that sounds absolutely fantastic to me. Being a sovereign individual, being able to settle my own transactions. And with the BitAxe and a node, it now starts to become reality. It's within grasp. It's really within reach to be able to be an individual and to manage these and to be your own bank. And so the mission behind Node Nation and the mission that we're trying to reach out to and accomplish is that give that power to every individual, Salvadoran or not.
I have a question. So it's a bit of a thought experiment. So you know that with Bitcoin adoption and making Bitcoin country here in El Salvador and having a decentralized monetary system, we're breaking free from the centralized system, breaking free from the central banks. And I'm wondering, and I have this idea about the governance of the country as well. If, in fact, every household in El Salvador has a node, can it be that we transition to a decentralized governance model where the government actually doesn't have any money per se? There is no central bank, but they would go out to the nation, go out to the citizens and say, hey, we're going to build a new airport. We need $1 billion. You, the citizens, have all the wealth on your nodes. It's unconfiscatable. It's uncensorable. Here's the proposition. The donation is XX per Bitcoin, and you all benefit because it's going to increase GDP, which will allow you to eventually buy more Bitcoin. So it's a decentralization of the nation state, reinventing the nation state. Is that a viable concept? It's kind of a thought exercise I've been kicking around in my head for a while.
I think so. I think if I think the critical part of that is the idea of each person sort of having this civic duty to say yes or no. If there's a proposal that comes down the pipeline, today governments make proposals in the form of bills, and their representatives vote on those bills. But I think what you're describing is a government makes a proposal, they push it to all the nodes and say yes or no. Do you want to do this or not? And effectively a yes is here's a chunk of some money, here's some taxes. I'm willing to pay for that. I'm not willing to pay for that. And I think it's possible. It's
it seems like
possible.
it's like why not have a decentralized governance model to go with our decentralized money?
Yeah.
And I think this is a great country to think about this idea.
And you could start with certain aspects of government. Like instead of doing a complete overhaul, you could say, all right, well, for these types of projects, we're going to try this. And then if it works and you're actually able to fund things, some people say yes, some people say no. Maybe we say, okay, the people over here don't want this new highway. Well, then they're not going to get it. These guys, they said yes, so they're going to get it. And you could try to sort of roll it out in a departmental experiment and then grow it. And say, this is how we're going to do things now. Everybody has a civic duty. You can vote, but
There's a civic duty to own a node.
Yeah,
right. That should be the case, the message.
And to vote on expenses by making
to run your own node here in Bitcoin country, Node Nation. All right, so where's your booth, your table?
We're right back there. We're answering questions all day long. We've got micro classes. If you come up and just chat with us, we'd love to take
Micro
you through.
classes? Is it like in the Matrix where I know Kung Fu?
It's kind of, yeah.
Where you just download the blockchain into my brain? You can
That's
do
it.
that?
Well, we use these devices.
Use this
and-
device to
yeah,
download
and
the
we-
blockchain into your brain.
Totally. We'll just need you to you touch right there, and we transfer all.
I
the
don't have any
information
money.
to
Can I use my card?
You
Maybe? No? Okay.
The cards are good for the people that are still living in the past. This is Bitcoin event, so we're.
Wow,
we really wanna
you're
take
like hardcore, which we like. The hardcore the better. We're
Totally.
hardcore as fuck. That's what
Why,
we like to say.
why are you guys hardcore?
We're hardcore. We're very hardcore. And well, anyway, thanks for coming up on stage.
Thanks
so
for having
we
us.
come visit you over there and check it out. The BitAxe is a fun product. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for inviting us.
All righty. Big round of applause. The Bitcoin hardware store down in El Zonte. Have everyone visited El Zonte? Of course you have. You all bought houses last night. Now you're living here. It's like, I'm Salvadoran, dude. I'm on my 5th pupusa. They only get better. All right, who's next? Where's my director? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. The man wearing an orange shirt. Here he comes, yeah!
Welcome. Introduce yourself, please. I think I know where this is going. Go, please, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Rodrigo. I am a born Salvadorian who returned 4 years ago to see the beautiful development in the country. And I also do public relations and marketing for Bitrefill.
Yeah, Bitrefill. I got it. We got the card right here. You know I'm a big fan of props. Anything you can play with. This is a cool prop. Look at this, Bitrefill. All right, so Max and Stacy know Bitrefill. You know, we Sergey, the founder, we've known for many, many years. And this is really an interesting story, the way the whole gift card industry has been transformed. And it's part of a story of kind of breaking free from the traditional rails and putting the power back into the people. But so tell us, tell the folks the Bitrefill story, if you can.
Yes, and it starts, I think, 10 years ago, October 2014. Sergey and some other guys in Stockholm decided to found this company, Bitrefill, and it started with mobile top-ups, which we still have. And some years later, the gift cards were introduced as a product as well. And this was when the company grew a lot. And now we have, I think, more than 7,000 different gift cards in more than 150 countries, the US being the biggest one. So it's a huge market for us. And the next step of the story happened actually here in El Salvador. November 2021, we launched a bill payment here in El Salvador. It's still the only country where we have it. So, and this has been a huge product for us as well.
All right, so the user experience at Bitrefill, walk us through that. What happens? I know there's a gift card involved, but just explain how the whole transaction works.
Yeah, say that you want to buy something on the Apple Store in the US. Then you go to the Bitrefill website or to the application, and then you get an Apple gift card for a certain amount of money. And then you, with that, and you just pay with whatever, well, with Bitcoin, of course, on Lightning. And then you get the value of an Apple gift card. Then you go to the Apple Store, either online or physical, and then you present this gift card, and then you get the product. And that's it. This is how I bought this watch, for example. I bought a Bitrefill gift card, and then I just went to the store and then just presented it, and then I got the watch.
Because a gift card is a surrogate for cash.
Yes.
Essentially. So I don't have a bank account, but I want to go online and do some commerce. So I substitute getting dollars, for example. If I need dollars, I'll get a gift card that's in dollars.
Yeah.
And you guys allow me to buy that gift card, I guess, with Bitcoin.
Yes.
So I can swap my Bitcoin for a gift card that are dollars. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't get those dollars ordinarily. And I want to get some product online that only accepts essentially dollars, and those dollars are held in a gift card.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's, and this has started in the multi-billion-dollar industry of phone cards, right? So everyone is familiar with phone cards. You get a prepaid phone card that's cash, essentially, and you make phone calls. And, of course, when people in the United States are calling back maybe to a country they came from, India, other countries, they do so by using these prepaid phone cards.
Yes.
So this is and then now when I go to Walmart, as I check out, there's like 40 different cash gift cards for Starbucks and all these
Yeah.
other different countries. So that's essentially, it's money. It's a wall of money, different money, and you guys allow you to convert Bitcoin into these cards and then use that as a money surrogate to buy stuff online, right?
Exactly. And we, a product I didn't mention, which is also pretty recent, is the eSIMs. For example, if you come to El Salvador, you can buy an eSIM that will work here, a digital
An
eSIM.
eSIM.
A digital eSIM. So if your phone supports double eSIM, so to say, then you can still have your physical SIM that you have from your home country. And
I
then
believe you were providing some for the tournament here.
Yes, exactly.
We did everyone get their eSIM cards? Did people get their eSIM cards from? It was a roaring success, as you can tell, with zero user adoption. No, there are apparently some eSIM cards out there, but that was cool. And what does the future hold? I mean, is this? I don't want to be like a party pooper or anything, but is this model like still viable? Because it seems like the whole rails of infrastructure of payments have evolved a lot in the last 5 years, and people are not having the same trouble that they had before. Bitcoin itself is accepted more readily, directly, and with the Lightning Network, et cetera. Is that a challenge for the business, or am I completely missing the point?
Well, it depends on how far ahead you want to look, I guess. But 2024 was the best year Bitrefill has ever had. So for the time being, we just keep on growing and growing. But you are correct that the bigger the Bitcoin adoption is worldwide, then of course the alternative
I see you're getting closer to me. You're not going to push me off the stage, are you?
I'm not.
It's like, this guy, he's speaking uncomfortable truths, so I'm going to end up in the water there. It's getting very aggressive. No, so that would be an issue. So as a business person, because I know you guys as a business, as a startup, so you're identifying that as a headwind, as they say in business. It's something to consider. You're moving, but 2024 was your best year.
Yeah, 2024 was without doubt our best year.
Right,
So.
and you're global, and
Yes.
of course, a billion. So your market, really, to put this into context, you have a potential market of 1 billion users or 2 billion users still.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is how we see it. Yes.
And Herman.
Yes, of course.
Who's here?
Of course.
Herman is the bit refill guy here in El Salvador.
Yes.
And we see him. He plays golf every day. Do you know he actually doesn't do any work here?
Okay.
He just plays golf.
Yeah,
Did you know
this is
that?
off the record, all right?
No, he's the hardest working guy in El Salvador, I can assure you. And he's a good golfer. But so where can people get, contact with you guys to participate? What's your web address or whatever?
Well, bitrefill.com or in any app store, either for Android or for Apple. But you can find me here everywhere, and I'm really more than happy to talk more about Bitrefill and how it can help you live on crypto or Bitcoin.
Live on credit. Is this actually Satoshi's card?
It is, yeah, but he couldn't come today, so he borrows that.
He just borrows it. Okay.
Yes, I just, and this is a viable product. I just bought the coffee I have there, I bought it with an actual card that I have with me.
Really?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much. Give it up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Thanks. Well, moving right along. Everybody having a good time? I wonder who's winning out there on the golf course. Perhaps Mario. He's the best dressed golfer in the tournament. The belt matches the shoes, shirt, ironed. The guy is a professional. He's snapping the balls out there. It's fantastic. Just one of the many excellent golfers. So y'all are none of you are golfers. You're like, golf, fuck golf, I don't play golf. What am I, 65 years old? I don't play golf. That's for old people. Well, who's next? Who's next on this agenda, on the...
Oh, good. This is the one I've been waiting for. Step right up.
Hello.
All right, please introduce
Max.
yourself. Yes.
So I am Juan Diego Sol. I am the regional manager for IBEX for Central America. We are a Bitcoin company, Bitcoin first company. We provide Lightning as a service, OTC, and payment processing in all of Central America to companies. And we're just starting to do cross-border payments as well.
Have a seat. IBEX is part of the trifecta of services people need to know about in this country if they want to get stuff done. I'm telling you. Because one of the least developed parts of the story here are the banks. Banks here are yet to fully embrace the change that Bitcoin represents. So IBEX acts kind of as an intermediary to the banks here in El Salvador. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, yes. We facilitate interactions, for example, for real estate, or if you want to inject capital into a company, because there's a lot of restrictions with the local banks. Let's say you're a Bitcoin startup and you come and you open operations, you open a bank account, it's going to take 6 months for you to be able to get capital or bring in a Swift wire. But we're able to fix that anybody can send us USDT, USDC, or Bitcoin, and we can do a local deposit without any issues, even for real estate purchases as well. So we've gotten a lot of clientele here locally from Bitcoiners wanting to buy property. And besides having a very secure and transparent process, we also have the best fees in the market, right? So besides the transactional aspect, all of us are Bitcoiners. We want this to be something that's easy and not intrusive or that prevents properties from being bought, for example. Yeah.
All right, so you have a seller of property here in El Salvador, and you want to buy that property. And you go to the seller and you say, I would like to give you Bitcoin for my property. And the seller says, no, I don't want stinking Bitcoin. I want dollars. And you're like, okay, so you've lost your mind. But you then would go to you at IBEX, IBEX, and we send you a stable coin, essentially, a circle or a tether.
Yep.
And then you convert it to dollars, and you send it to the seller into his bank account.
Correct.
So I have effectively bought my property in Bitcoin, and
Yep.
using your service, IBEX, as the intermediary. And the reason this is important because this is kind of a hack, I would say, for people who are interested in buying property, because every day people say, I love El Salvador, I'm buying property, I went to the bank, and it's going to take me 6 months to get an account. And I'm like, well, while in those 6 months, the property's going to go up 10%, 20%, I'm already front-running all you guys, ha, ha, ha. And, with your service, this is like the insider secret. We're giving the secret sauce entree into this property market if you use IBEX. So other than what we just described, what else do you guys do?
So we're starting to do cross-border payments using Bitcoin and the Lightning Network as an intermediary. One thing we always consider is that Bitcoin, besides being an asset, it's also an excellent monetary network, years ahead of anything else that's available currently, or even traditional finance. So we want to leverage both the asset and the monetary network to facilitate cross-border movements of money. Right now, we've been doing sends from El Salvador and from Guatemala to Mexico in less than 5 minutes with the local settlement. We're also starting to do euros. So besides like retail payments or real estate payments, Bitcoin can become something that helps everyday businesses get better FX rates, pay their suppliers quickly, and save time and costs.
Right, and you are a Guatemalan company.
Yeah, we're local to the region. There are many Bitcoin companies around here. Osmos, also from Guatemala, for example. They're also a great Guatemalan company and an example of what Central Americans can build. We're native to the region, at first we thought all the U.S. companies were gonna burst into El Salvador, like Coinbase, Kraken, etc., and start doing a lot of things, but none of that has happened yet. I always say that it's fairly easy to overestimate what can happen in 3 years and underestimate what can happen in 10. And over here, IBEX is building, and there's a lot of other cool companies here building stuff.
Right. So President Bukele made Bitcoin legal tender, I believe, in 2021. How important was that to what you guys do?
Yeah. So actually, I'm also Salvadorian. I forgot to mention that. I never thought I was ever going to come back to El Salvador just because I was able to study abroad and I could stay working abroad. When Bitcoin became legal tender, I saw that as one of the first opportunities or signs that something was changing in El Salvador. And I quit my job and I came back here. I've been working on Bitcoin ever since. So even besides just like Bitcoin becoming legal tender, at the end of the day, it affects people in a positive way. I'm much happier now than I am before. I know a lot of other people working in the Bitcoin space that have taken that leap, and all of that is thanks to President Bukele's initiative of making Bitcoin legal tender.
Let me ask you this. So Max and Stacy arrived here really right when the gang war started, and we don't really know El Salvador pre-Bukele. And so all we know is Bukele, right? It's fantastic. But you would know the story. Can you give the people a sense of the difference, pre-Bukele, post-Bukele?
Sure. So I would say, and I've said this in many other places, it's a night and day difference. Starting in high school here, all my life, like whenever you go to a place, you'd either have to go with a bulletproof car or don't go out at night. It would be your freedom would be very limited by the gang members and the violence in the country. Since President Bukele came aboard, that has changed to night and day again. Now I can safely, not only myself, anybody can safely go out and walk around freely, feel safe, use Bitcoin. So there's a lot of more freedom nowadays than there was before. And things are going, I would say, in a really, really positive trend.
So we hear that there's approximately 500,000 to 600,000 Salvadorans living in the United States, the diaspora, who left during the Civil War, left during the gang war. And the understanding is that many of them, 60%, actually 60% of the 3 million Salvadorans moved to the States, are contemplating coming back. So you would have a good eye on that in terms of, because they would require banking services, et cetera. Is that an estimate that you see happening? Is there a huge wave of, like yourself, coming back?
Yeah, I would say so. There's people coming back, and there's also more of the idea of coming back. Now it's something that you consider. Now it's something that you think about when you're living abroad as a Salvadoran. You see El Salvador, and you see everything improving so much, and you even see people from other countries coming here and going back and telling them, like, hey, your country is beautiful. Like, I want to move back to El Salvador and everything. So we've seen that. Clients as well, like we have a lot of hermanos lejanos that have Bitcoin and want to buy property or need Bitcoin services as well, and they're all looking towards El Salvador. And not even only for the US, like in Central America, the surrounding countries, whenever I meet somebody from a different country, they tell me like, oh, El Salvador is so beautiful, like you guys are doing so good, and yeah.
Yeah, and as a customer also, with IBEX, the fees are extremely competitive. So you guys, because of the efficiencies that come with Bitcoin and everything around Bitcoin and stable coins, the fee structure is a lot less than what you would find with the traditional banking system. So you get the speed, it's less cost, it's more efficient. You get the service, you guys are like right on the case with, it's not a robot at the other end of the phone, AI-driven kind of push number. If you're going insane, press 2, beep. If you've been on the phone for 47 minutes, press 3, beep. If you're really hungry, you need a sandwich, press 9, beep. It's not like that. It's more like you guys are right there working in real time, delivering great service at a great price, and highly recommended. And like I said, don't let the banking system's inability to adapt stop you. from buying some real estate now before the floodgates. I think 2025, you're going to see, Los Angeles, that's not going to be the place to buy anything anytime soon. I think they're now the 7th province of Mexico, I think. Trump will buy Greenland, but he's going to have to sell California to Mexico to pay for it. That sounds good, right? You can do that deal. Can you do that deal?
Yeah.
All right, round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. All right, well, how does everybody feel about this idea about, buying Greenland, going to buy the Panama Canal? There's a lot of territorial acquisitions going on. Is that a good idea? What do you think? It seems like a lot of legacy nonsense. Why buy territory when you can buy Bitcoin? That's what I think. I think the administration is, they talk about Bitcoin, but Donald Trump's, at heart, he's a real estate developer. That might be an obstacle, that stumbling block to winning the Bitcoin adoption race in which El Salvador is currently leading with the $500 equivalent Bitcoin per capita. That's what having 6,000 Bitcoin means. Of course, we're trailing Bhutan. They have about $1,500 per capita of Bitcoin because they've been mining Bitcoin hydroelectrically for years. And they're in really good shape, those monks. You see them walking up the mountain? It's like Jane Fonda, tough buns. Jane Fonda should release a tape, have buns like a monk buns. You see, that's just some of the ideas that never make it for me. But nevertheless, I continue. I'm an undaunted. I will not be stopped except by the edge of the stage. All right, who is next? Do I have any next? Really? Dun, 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 dun. All right, this is truly a very special guest. Round of applause for this gentleman. All right, introduce yourself. You got to press the button. Let's see. Is this on? Should be on. Use this.
Okay. Oh, I can hear myself now. Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon Martin from Piranha Ink Studios.
Hello. Okay.
Ooh,
Brandon Martin. Brandon Martin.
Brandon Martin, I created an alias for myself to become more of a toxic Bitcoin maxi ever since the adoption of El Salvador. So I rebranded myself. So my alias on Twitter is El Brandino Martinez. I've been...
Okay, sit down in the chair. I'll give you a proper introduction.
Sure, yeah.
So Brandon Martin is a artist. He's a tattoo artist. He's also a visual artist and a graphic artist. And he's been following Max and Stacy for a number of years. And he came up with this iconic image of Max and Stacy, the one where I have like a hood on and I'm wearing glasses and look like some mysterious holy man. This is his creation. He's kind of the house artist for Max and Stacy, for the Orange Pill podcast, for the Kaiser Report. And he really came up with the branding of us in a lot, I would say. And do you live in Phoenix? No.
No, I don't live in Phoenix. I live in Washington State, between, Portland and Seattle. They call it Hub City.
Okay, so you're up there in those northern western states, and your day job is you do tattoo artistry, correct?
Yeah, for the last 17 years. That's correct.
Right, and so now you got into, and you're here, and what's remarkable is that I think this is your first time here.
It is.
And you've already been offered lodges for 6 months, free lodging, and a job.
Yeah.
So this could be a life-changing trip for you.
Absolutely. I was doing some photography and filming out of a golf course yesterday, and I've never been on a golf course, so I had no idea how big it is. So walking down there, it was great until the dehydration set in. Luckily, on the hole 16 for Alpha Samara, or Samara Alpha, I was doing some filming and some photography, see if I can get any pictures of people maybe trying to get that hole-in-one. So Roman and Sergio, they come in and save my life. They had refreshments, and they were able to take me on their golf cart back up here to the club so I didn't die. I mean, I was on the ground wriggling in dehydration. So they really saved my life. Along the way, Roman, you know, he was like, man, I like your media and stuff. If you're ever interested, I have a place for you to stay if you'd like to try to figure out some real estate for the next 6 months. And I didn't really know how to take that. I was like, holy moly, that's exactly kind of what I've been trying to think about doing, and having someone like Chimbera from Good Life Real Estate offer that, I was just absolutely mind blown.
All right, so Brandon, you are living the Bitcoin life,
I am.
right? So,
Yeah.
and how long you been in Bitcoin?
Since, not the last halving, but the halving before last.
That's
2019,
2019?
something like that.
Okay. And so it seems, if I may ask, how old are you?
Yeah. I'm 36.
So you're a millennial, or you're after a millennial?
I'm millennial.
You're a millennial, like the president. The president, Bukele, is also a millennial.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you and President Bukele and all millennials are kind of on this similar voyage of Bitcoinage, which is, from what I understand, the demographics are that the boomers and the millennials are heavy into Bitcoin, Gen X and the Zoomers less so, for different demographic reasons. But so the millennials and the boomers, like myself, are more into Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin speaks to you and it helps you navigate this ever-changing, ever-complicated world. And up until then, you were doing this through your art as an artist. Do you consider yourself an artist?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how does Bitcoin help an artist do their art?
That's a great question, and it might take a little bit to answer.
Please. We have all the way until lunch. We have another 3 hours.
So, you know, being an artist is fun. It's great. You're giving people tattoos and have it affect their lives. But, you know, I started getting more into Bitcoin during COVID when everything shut down, and I was having to operate out of my shop with the blinds closed, you know, because I was worried about the popo kicking in my front door for trying to make a living to myself. So, you know, I did a lot of time at my house researching, learning about other stuff, you know, just because the world was so closed. And I was a big fan of Alex Jones and InfoWars and learning about the alternative information due to the corruption of mainstream media. So that's how I found Max, is on InfoWars. One day, just listening to Alex Jones, there was some random crazy guy raving about something I've never heard in Bitcoin, and I was like, what the hell could cause somebody to act like this? So I had to go investigate a little bit, and at the end of his interview with Alex Jones, he had put out a Twitter handle. I'm like, this old man has Twitter? I thought it was for high school girls. I didn't know what Twitter was. And so I was like, downloaded Twitter, and he was the first person I started following, and I started investigating and found like the Orange Pill podcast, and that's where I found Max and Stacy now. So Stacy was an absolute gem to find her with Max, because not only was I getting you know, information about Bitcoin, she you know, had the opposite energy of Max almost. You know, Max is explosive talking about Bitcoin. You know, and then Stacy, she's more introverted, but, you know, more correct and kind of soft-hearted. And, you know, coming from a female voice and perspective, I was able to learn and listen a little better instead of being stressed out to learn about Bitcoin, right? So, you know, I was just dumbfounded by the podcast they put together. And they put that together, it seems like during COVID, because they were in the same boat. Everyone was lost and no one knew what the hell to do. So we were just on our computers learning about stuff. And one thing led to the next, and I heard about Bitcoin Twitter. What the hell is Bitcoin Twitter? Twitter, you know, I thought was high school girls and stuff. So I realized that there are more people on Twitter than I thought. And so Bitcoin Twitter is a form of Twitter, but only with Bitcoiners. So I just started following every Bitcoiner I could find. And being an artist, I noticed that there are some Bitcoiners out there making memes. I don't know if you've ever heard of memes, but that is a life-changing perspective for an artist. So I'm like looking at these memes and they made me laugh. Like, this is hilarious. And not only is it funny, it's educational. It makes you think. It makes you go investigate. And I was like, I can do this. I can make a meme. I'm going to change the world with memes. So I created a piece of artwork based on some of the stuff Max and Stacy were talking about. See, in the mornings, I'd wake up and draw my drawings for the day to get ready to tattoo, and then before work, I'd be listening to their podcast. Listening to their podcast made my brain spin because I'm like, how can I convey ideas that they're expressing through art? And so I made Bitcoin Jesus because of Max's push towards, almost like a religious aspect of Bitcoin where it changes your life. I don't know if anybody's ever had like that religious experience that changed your life and you're like, might have to change my life for something now. So the artwork led to an education, and the education led to meeting people, and then the meeting people led to deeper forms of artwork that I was like making puzzles with the artwork where I'd put information into the art, make people laugh, make people scratch their heads and wonder. And I was just working and with such synergistic effect between Max and Stacy and art and education, it made the whole experience incredible. I mean, information's being oppressed, censorship was through the roof. And then, this outlet for me made me feel good, not only of learning about finances. I used to live day to day, just basically getting by. And ever since I discovered Bitcoin, I started squirreling a little money away. And then all of a sudden I had $2,000 in Bitcoin. I thought I was the richest man alive. $2,000, right? So I kept stacking and stacking. And before I knew any better, all the money I was saving not only was protected on a network that couldn't be taken by our government, it allowed me to accumulate wealth by doing absolutely nothing. I just hodled. I sat on it and seen what it did. And then I became, to myself, rich with information, rich with censorship resistance, rich with, being able to travel and art and stuff like that now. And so I ended up going down to Phoenix because Max was doing a stand-up thing down there, an educational Bitcoin conference. And he was like, hey, I got you a ticket. Are you going to come? And I'm like, your $50 ticket for a $500 flight and hotel. Sure, I'll be there. So I get there, and, I'm creating an alias now because I'm like, well, how can I come into this conference and, be part of it? I can't just roll in there just a lame person not talking to anybody. So I really wanted to bring energy because Max's energy rubbed off on me so hard that I'm like, oh, man, it's funny how energy can make someone pay attention. So I created an alias for myself, El Brandino Martinez, and then one thing I did was took the energy of Macho Man Randy Savage, but I made it into a Bitcoiner. So I got a Macho Man Randy Savage get-up, tie-dye tank top, crazy Macho Man Randy Savage sunglasses, and I went down to the Spider Ballroom just like livid, just ready to like party and stuff and talk to people. I didn't know what I was doing. I walk into a room full of Bitcoiners, coders, computer people and stuff. No one was ready for this. I met Jimmy Song there, and the first thing I did was try to body slam him. But, so I brought my camera. I was rattling off pictures. I was waving my hands, ready to get pictures of everyone with Max and stuff because of how much he changed my life. I wanted to help him out with media and art and stuff to help other people be orange-pilled. So I'm amplifying Max now. And this has been utter joy of creating, like the character he's talking about, the picture that Stacy took one day of him in a hood with the white hair and the glasses, and I just took that image like a character now, and so this is Max is my character, that I used for an educational purpose of orange pilling people over the ages.
Yeah, Lillian saw this character. Lillian from Arius, she saw this character and she was like, "Is that you?" It's like, "Yeah, that's my doppelganger, my character representation." And so this is a really interesting story. Now, you said something a moment ago that caught my attention. You said, "I got rich and I hold my Bitcoin and I don't have to do anything."
Yeah.
This is an interesting concept, hodling, because unlike other people who are not Bitcoiners, it's a hamster wheel where they have to keep working harder and harder because the value of their money keeps getting depreciated and the purchasing power goes down because they keep printing it. So you've already reached kind of fuck you money stage where you're saying, I've got my Bitcoin, I don't have to work another day in my life because the purchasing power is going to go up no matter what I do because the world of fiat money is collapsing and therefore everything's going to get cheaper for me going forward versus Bitcoin. Everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. So as an artist, that gives you some breathing room to just kind of think, and I would imagine that would feed back into having a more satisfying experience as an artist.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, I crippled myself over 17 years of tattooing. And, when I started stacking, and then all of a sudden the price started going up. Once it reached 100K, I took some time off of work. I was working every day.
And then you decided to buy this club. And now we're all here at your club.
Yeah. Taking that time off of work was great because now I can focus more on memes and art and traveling and help orange people. Listen to you guys.
Yeah.
Fast-tracked me to Bitcoin education. I've noticed that you guys are the best people to listen to for an economic perspective on what Bitcoin is and how it does, just because of the background. And, when I try to learn things, I try to find the best people in the business. And I tripped across you, and I became just starstruck by just the information that you're trying to convey.
Yeah, I'm just a gateway drug for Stacy. Like, I grab people's attention, and then she's actually got the information that's, vital and important.
And the funnest thing about it, getting back to I said Phoenix, but what I really meant was Austin, Texas.
Yeah, Austin at the Spider House Ballroom.
Spider House Ballroom. It was Austin, Texas was the first one.
Well, I talked to Jimmy Song that year, and we were saying, Bitcoin is boring. We need to spice it up. So I developed a character, which was an evangelical preacher meets a stripper. So I would come on stage with very little clothes on and preach Bitcoin.
So I got a picture of him on stage losing his mind. He has his shirt open, and I was recording and stuff, and I ended up using that image for the cover of the Book of Max. Has
the Book of
anyone
Max.
seen the Book of Max yet or own a copy? I have a few different copies. Anytime he's doing book signing, I try to get up there and try to sign books with him. But ultimately, he signs my book, and I have to leave. But ultimately, one day, I want to sign books with you together.
Oh, definitely. So you did most of the artwork. There was one or two other guys who do memes as well. You had the cover and
Geek Boy from Ireland, he's another
Geek
one of the
Boy.
affiliates and stuff that's been doing Max Kaiser artwork for a little bit. That is extremely jealous of the cover art that I made, and he wants the next cover. But
we'll do the
see
book
if he makes it
book
to
of
it.
Stacy. We'll have
The
Geek
Book
Boy.
of Stacy
We'll
was
have
going to
Geek Boy
happen
cover.
this year.
Yeah, it's going to happen this year.
This is my next project, Book of Stacy. People can look
It's
forward
going to be
that.
tough to beat my rating on Amazon, though. I've got 3.9 stars, and the first review is, "This is a complete shit, waste of money. You'll learn nothing. Verified buyer." Like, wow.
I was talking to
Can't
someone
get better than that.
yesterday that they were reading the Book of Max on the way here, and they found me, and they were like, "I was just reading that book. You created the cover." I was like, "Yeah, I sure did," and it's so awesome to kind of meet people in these conferences and then be, Max's favorite artist, quote unquote. He says so. He says I'm his favorite artist.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. All righty, Brandino, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Max.
All righty.
Hey.
Fantastic.
Take it easy.
All righty. Well, there it is. I love that story. I think it really tells the whole Bitcoin story in a very important way. Well. What's next? Oh, we do one more? Is it going to be this woman from Arius? No? Very good. All right, we have one more guest up here on stage before we take a bit of a break. And come on up.
Test.
Come on up.
Hello.
Hello from
Ciao.
Brains.
I'm Christian, Chief of Propaganda at Brains.
Fantastic.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, this is fantastic. What is Brains? Tell the people.
Software company for Bitcoin miners, but that's not really cool. What really cool is, so we're the oldest mining pool in the world. So we're in
All
the
right, what's a
Bitcoin-
mining pool? What is a mining pool? Tell the people.
So people mining with the mining machines produce like a compute power, right? And we aggregated them in order to give them some benefits, very simply put. So we aggregate your compute power, the mining hash rate, and then for that they get the benefit of reduced variance in rewards.
Right, so in the beginning, people used to plug into the Bitcoin network on their home computers, and they would try to participate in the award every 10 minutes, and at that time it was 50 Bitcoin. And somebody would say, oh, I got this Bitcoin, and that's great. And then the pooling concept started, where, you know, if we pool together, we're going to have a higher chance of getting that reward. And so you guys were the first pool?
Yeah, so there are actually two first pools, but the first one they didn't mine any block and then they died. So we say like, yeah, we're the first because we actually mined the block and then people are using it will withstand the test of time. So like you know, they're like a nitty gritty for like a Bitcoin archaeologist back in the like 2010. But we say like we're the original pool. We're one of the creators of the idea of pooling the hash rate, and you know, we created the Stratum, so which is the mining protocol to pool the mining. So we say, yeah, we have a lot of contribution on
right,
that side.
and we've known you ever since, you know, through the Kaiser report. Now, people have a misconception about mining because whenever they see mining mentioned in the mainstream press, it says Bitcoin uses mining, which is they're solving mathematical equations. Okay, this is absolutely wrong.
It cannot be further from the truth. Actually.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell what is actually happening during Bitcoin mining.
So actually, I love it. So I guarantee you, watch mainstream news, and I guarantee that in the next month, you're gonna see exactly that sentence: Bitcoin mining solving complex mathematical problems. It just shows how early we are. Like you have to dig in very deep to understand what is Bitcoin mining, and it really shows. Like, you know, all the mainstream media just saying this because it's just lazy journalism, because it's more of a like a roll of a dice. We use the analogy of roll of the dice. So and also think about, if it would be complex mathematical problems, it would not be quantum resistant. So it's a very, very smart way how to make it quantum resistant, how to make everybody in the world participate easily, because you just plug in.
Digression alert. We just said something very important. It's quantum computer resistant because it's not solving mathematical questions. It's this other function that's happening that in fact is responsive to the difficulty adjustment, right? So, okay, so to restate then the difference between solving mathematical equations and what Bitcoin actually does, it's a brute force attack where literally trillions of guesses are generated by the network to guess what's called the nonce, right? Which is a single-use number. And the first two, and then take it from there. What happens when somebody identifies that number?
So if you identify correctly the number, or we say like roll the correct number on the, like imagine having a dice with million sides, and the network says, okay, roll number smaller than 10. Yeah, it's easier for people to understand it this way. And then you solve the block. So miners have the ability to write into the accounting book of Bitcoin. So they're playing the race to guess the correct number.
You see, you are guilty of misnomenclature yourself because you just said they solved the block. Okay, so you're contributing to the confusion. They didn't solve the block. They guessed the block,
exactly,
right? So it's a brute force attack, guessing until somebody gets. So now, just to get a little deeper, because this is kind of fascinating, the single-use number, or the nonce, is tied to part of the protocol called the difficulty adjustment, right? So the difficulty adjustment happens roughly every 2 weeks, but it's an actual number of blocks, right? But it happens roughly every 2 weeks. So the program autonomously by itself surveys the entire global Bitcoin network of nodes that we discussed an hour ago, and it figures out what is the computational power of all of these computers together. And it's the largest distributed computer network in the world, running at something like 500 or 5,000 terahash or something incredible. And they say that the estimate of the program, the protocol itself, doing its own calculation to figure out, given all that computer power, and the idea that they need to guess correctly within a 10-minute window, what number, this nonce, which is a fraction of a fraction, and they have to guess it, when it starts with like 36 zeros. So it's dot 36 zeros, 2579. So it's an infinitesimally small number. They have to guess that number or below that number. And it takes a global computer network to make all these guesses until they get to that guess. And that's proof of work, right? Isn't that the definition of proof of work? Because you cannot
You cannot fake that. You cannot fake that work. So that's the core principle of proof of work. So it's easy. Everybody can join in. It's hard to do, but it's very easy to verify by anybody. So that's how you find
hard to do, easy to verify.
Yes. So that's how you create the consensus of random people not knowing each other globally, online, within seconds. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. So like everybody can join it. It's hard to do because you're, as you said, millions of computers running 24/7, guessing every single second, billions and trillions of the solutions, of the guesses. And so it's hard to do. It's hard to do. But once they find it, it's very easy for everybody to verify, okay, he really did the work, he really participated, he, like the participant, he deserves the new Bitcoin, he deserves the reward, and we write the transaction to the
Yeah, it's verifiable because the numbers there, it's transparent, it's on the network. So the transition from the home computer guy with a laptop or whatever doing this mining, so then Bitcoin at the beginning was worth nothing. So people were mining it, and they were talking about it online, and then I guess it was 2010. Somebody bought some pizzas with some Bitcoin. I think they spent 10,000 Bitcoin to buy 2 pizzas, which is worth almost $1 billion in today's Bitcoin prices.
Less known fact, I think he paid like 10 Bitcoins in the transaction fee for the miners.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy too. So that established for the first time a dollar price because some pizza guy was accepting it at that dollar conversion of pizzas. So then people are like, oh, this can be used as money. So I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. So then an arms race began. So people were like, you know what? I'm going to use a faster chip, a bigger chip. Then we got into the ASICs period, where it's like I'm going to have a dedicated chip, and they were using graphic card chips, the GPUs. This is how actually one of the reasons why the company NVIDIA is huge is that they're in the gaming chip business, the GPU business, and their first customers back in the day were Bitcoin miners. So the Bitcoin miners really made NVIDIA a big startup at the time. So then this is when mining makes sense, because you're saying, I can't win this arms race because I cannot afford a room full of cray supercomputers. So I'm going to band together with folks. I'm going to create a pool, and we're going to split the rewards if we, as a pool, guess that number. So how many pools are there working today?
So there are around 10 mining pools, let's say, because you have to be of certain size to serve the purpose of a mining pool. So out of that probability or mathematics, you will never see like 100 pools. You need to have at least, let's say, 2 to 3% of the global hash rate in order to serve the purpose to like reduce the variance. If you're too tiny, you're not serving the purpose of the pool, simply put. So we'll never see like 100 plus pools. So we'll always see around 15 entities, 15 mining pools. That's what we see today.
So the BitAxe product, which we just talked about an hour ago, they're not attached to any pool, right? There's a single, if you have a BitAxe, which is a toy miner, you plug it in your home, and you are part of this 10-minute cycle of guessing the number, right? But nobody with a BitAxe is part of a pool, correct?
Most of them are, but there are still two different pools. So you can mine on our pool because we
Okay,
have...
so you do join a pool with
yeah,
the BitX.
you can.
Okay,
but you're
so you join a
making-
pool, but your percentage of the coin, if you win it, would be
You're making like
very small.
sats, 100 sats a day.
Right.
Yeah, but some people do. Like they just want the hands-on experience and few non-KYC sats.
Okay, so that to clear that up for me, because actually that's for I'm now understanding this a little bit better. So you do actually plug into a pool with a BitX.
You can. So
Okay.
either you join our pool. So we have lightning payouts, so instant payouts without zero fees.
Lightning payouts,
Yeah,
right?
so
Zero
you're getting
fees.
100 sats a day, or you join a solo lottery pool, but it's still a pool. So like you join forces, but then the reward goes to really the miner who gets the correct number.
Okay, what about this topic of, I remember back in, 2012 maybe, and we were in London, and at that time, the big miner out of Georgia, what's the name of that company? I forget. It's a huge company. They had crossed over and were now 51% of the hash at that time. And so talk a little bit about 51% attack.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is it truly a risk? So first of all, explain what the perception is of a 51% attack.
So naturally, so miners, if you correctly guess the number, you have the ability to write the transaction into the accounting book forever. So that's a big power. So naturally, if you have more of the guessing power in the world, you're more likely to write more often to the accounting book. So what can happen if you have at least half? You can be changing the reality of the book and saying, hey, this is Bitcoin, and you can fake transaction or something. The reality is, if you have 51, just 51, like you're still guessing every other block. And just to sustain it and to attack it, it's very, very costly. So like, that's the beauty for me. The beauty of Bitcoin is like everybody's so self-motivated to obey the rules. So, and by financial incentives. So like, you're not gonna attack it because you're gonna lose everything. So it's like
let me ask you this. What is more elegant, the code or the incentive model?
The code is just a representation of the incentive model. Like the incentives, that's really like the number one lesson that got me into Bitcoin. Like, show me the incentive, I show you the outcome. That's the absolute beauty. And then the code is just like the musical knows how to write that.
So it's game theory in its purest form, and nobody can outgame anybody else, but they all try.
So yes, the attack is theoretical, and by the way, you would try at least with like 80% of the network, and then you're talking about crazy amount of billions of dollars every second spent, and also you have to control those machines, and the compute network global is growing so rapidly.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do. It's like if you have that much money and power, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna start putting NSA agents into the companies or something. Like, there are way better ways to get influence and something.
Right,
like,
and
this
you're
is very
motivated
difficult.
not to disturb your own stack at that point that you've accumulated by mining to get to that level. So if you want to monkey around with the code and destroy the network, you would make yourself bankrupt. But the cost...
Sorry, because I just remembered that I was supposed to say about the raffle. I'm sorry, because when we were talking about the BitX, so we have something similar. So we have a tiny mini miner, and there are not enough people now. So there's Frida. So go to Frida, and she'll give you a free small lottery ticket. So we're raffling 2 mini miners. So it's a Brains mini miner. So it's a tiny device with 1 terahash. So it's a very, very tiny. You're not gonna mine for profit with that. It's a BitX competitor. But what it really is good at, you get hands-on experience with mining. This little mini miner runs our Brains OS, which is a custom firmware, which runs on the biggest farms on the planet. Like, our firmware runs on hundreds of thousands, on the big publicly traded miners. So with this, you're touching all the software that runs the biggest operations in the world. So this is your best way how to learn mining. So this is the key.
You said it was 1 terahash. When the Bitcoin was starting in 2009, it didn't even have a terahash.
Oh, yeah. That would be unbelievable brute force.
Yeah,
back then. Yes.
I wish we had this in 2009. So the hash rates are getting, where is it? It's currently
750
750 exahash.
Zeta hash.
Is there any
definitely
limit to
happening.
where it can go? Or?
No, we're definitely hitting Zeta hash this year for sure.
Zeta hash.
It's the year of the Zeta hash,
Holy shit.
2025.
All right. What is this book here?
So we're also very big on education because not just outside of the mining or Bitcoin bubble, we need education inside. Like really, Bitcoin mining is like every Bitcoiner knows it works. The incentives are aligned perfectly, but then they don't know like more. So we're on the mission to educate more. So the first book is a Bitcoin mining glossary. So it's like 256 of the most important terms because there are a lot of buzzwords. So it may seem like we're in a very nerdy garage style industry, but it's very simple to understand. So we just wrote it. Of course, you can buy it on Amazon, shipping EU and US instantly.
All right, let's get time for a pop quiz. What is CFM?
I don't know that.
Okay, there you go. You can be more educated than this guy.
Isn't it? Anyway, I don't know.
Take a guess. It's per foot. What is it? Cubic feet per minute. It's a metric that describes how much airflow is created by a fan.
Yes.
I'm surprised you didn't know this. Yeah. This is necessary to know when building an air-cooled mining facility.
Yeah, I'm the marketing monkey, so I'm the chief of propaganda. So I have the people who are smarter than me. Like that's my job, you know. It's not to know that. I have people who know that. But anyway,
the ultimate collateral. This looks good. Who wrote this?
So Martin, who's just playing now, wrote this book, and we launched it in Philadelphia this Monday. So it's a new book. So all our revenue at Brains is in Bitcoin, and we really don't like selling Bitcoin. So we just invested in a company called Firefish. And they're on the mission of, hey, use Bitcoin as collateral because if it's the best money, best asset ever invented, it's going to be the best collateral.
This
so
looks
it's like,
good.
Never sell, live of it is the mission.
Long Bitcoin, short fiat.
Exactly.
The Ultimate Collateral by Firefish. What else we got here? This is good swag. This is the best swag I've seen. BTC, is that right? Bitcoin Mining Handbook. All right, what am I going to find in here?
So mining handbook is like if you're a beginner wanting to understand more about Bitcoin mining industry, or you're also miner and want to explore some practical tips. For example, if you're a beginner, you want to know what's the benefit of proof of work, or what's the difference between miner and nodes. So that's in the first chapters, but then we go on to practical tips. What's the difference between auto-tuning, which runs in our BrainOS firmware, versus overclocking, for example. So we give you practical tips on your power strategies.
What's overclocking?
So it's a very simple idea, just your power strategy. So you're putting more juice, more power to your miner. That's
right.
it.
But you risk burning the chips out?
So that's why you need to pair it with something called auto-tuning. So our firmware, which is custom aftermarket firmware, does something called auto-tuning, and that optimizes each individual chip so that the whole runs more efficiently.
What percentage of the Bitcoin mining does Brains what your pool has? What percentage of the mining?
So on the pool, we're very niche pleb miner pool. So we're like I think 3% of the network.
3%.
So we're the pleb mining place. You know, we're not the foundries and for the popcos. But on the BrainOS side, we're mostly used by the publicly traded companies. Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Because it's very simple. The firmware, it's just you. If you optimize, you're earning more Bitcoin. That's the mission of Brains. We just help you mine more sats. That's it.
Well, you actually know stuff. And any questions?
Yeah, not me with the CFM.
Any questions out there? I know this is going to irritate you. You're going to wake up in a cold sweat. Like, I didn't know that! Any questions out here? Because this is a rare opportunity to pick the brain of an
And
actual...
who asks questions gets the books.
Oh, okay, the hands...
And in the meantime, all those books, of course, you can purchase them. We have one more about Bitcoin mining economics and Bitcoin separation of state and money, but they're all for free download. So if you go to brains.com/books, there's free PDF, and also on Spotify and YouTube, we have an audio version for free. So, of course, if you like physical books and smelling books, I know some people do. I don't. I like audiobooks.
Yeah.
You can get them.
I have a fetish for smelling books. I don't know how to explain it really. But okay, what is your question?
I thought, isn't a Bitcoin miner such as BitAxe or your product, isn't it just plug and play? What actual work do you have to do?
Oh yeah, did you just plug and play, or do you have to know how to like
No,
program it?
it's very simple. Of course, like we have a manual, like step-by-step guide. But it is these days mining is very simple. So you plug it in, you plug it into electricity, you connect to Wi-Fi. It's like connecting your laptop to Wi-Fi. Very easy. And then you go on a website with just where you put link where it mines, so a server location where it mines, and your account name on a pool. So it's like you're done. Okay, I'm done in 5 minutes. You're gonna be in 4.5. You know, it's okay.
All right, what book do you want to? You're the
You can
winner of a
pick
book.
one of the books.
Which one
So-
of these books would you
so
like? Come
maybe-
on up and pick a book.
Yes.
Come on up. Come on up on stage and pick a book. Come on. All right, any other questions? You got a book? Oh, see now, the incentive to ask a question has changed, and suddenly we went from no questions to a lot of questions. Why? Because people are incentivized to get a book. Sir, what is your question?
There's a ton of esoterica around the whole Bitcoin movement, and it takes a while to get your mind around just the terms and all of that. It's one of the real barriers coming in. And so I just want to ask you about the number 256. You know, for a long time, the marathon runners had 26.2 on their cars. Just this number, it meant nothing to anybody else. And then the rest of the world finally figured out, oh, that's a competitive runner. And then the half marathoners put 13.1 and so on and so forth. But now the Bitcoiners have 256 or hash 256. So tell us what it means so we can just take a step into the culture.
Shaw 256.
SHA-256 is the hash function. That's what the journalists claim to be the complex mathematical problem solving. But it's just it's a black box. It's a black box. You input into that black box any word, any string of characters, and it just crunches it and outputs a hash. It's just a random soup of letters. And
It is, but it has a distinct number of characters.
yes, and then if you change little bit the input, the output is always different. And if you put the same input, it has always the same output.
So the rabbit hole of Bitcoin leads you to hash, and it'll lead you to atom back and hash cash, and that's the only developer mentioned in the white paper. And a lot of people say, well, Bitcoin is basically atom backs hash cash plus the difficulty adjustment, and that's Bitcoin. So you're nodding your head, you agree with that, and I think that's true. So hash cash, it's easy. It's a asymmetric encryption technology, two key asymmetric. What's his name? Diffle Wiffle, the encryptor, the scientist who came up with that. Okay, well, we'll move on. Somebody out here would know.
So you win the book where the essential 256 essential terms.
Very good. The Shaw 256.
These are for you, Max.
What do we got here?
Salvador and cigars.
Oh, great.
The world doesn't know about it.
Really?
Red blunts, baby. Those are handmade right here in the country.
Wow.
You can give them away.
I never heard of Salvadoran cigars. Fantastic.
There's a question.
Next question. Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
Shoot, crazy. I'm
Well,
fine.
no, you may have already answered this. You mentioned the pleb pool. You mentioned putting in the server. You mentioned it's a competitor to BitX. Can you mine solo with that, or do you have to join a pool?
Yeah, so still, there are two different solo things. There's a solo pool. Vast majority of people use solo pool, which is a CK pool, most famous, and then public pool. So solo pool means you connect still to a pool. They do all the work. They do the transaction block template creation. There are the node, and then if your miner finds the correct solution, not solution, damn it, the correctly guesses the number, they give you all the block reward and keep a fee. So that there's a solo mining pools, but then there's like the true solo. For that, you have to be running a node in your home, and for example, something called public pool. Public pool is open source mining pool that you can run locally. But it is a little bit extra steps, so it's not something that I don't know, most of people here would set up.
Yeah, just
You can, of course you
side
can.
note, I was referring to the Diffie-Hellman key exchange. Refers to the cryptographic method used to establish a shared secret key between wireless. You can use a public key and a private key. That's what that allows you to do. So you have your public key in the Bitcoin encryption system that you can give somebody, and that refers to your private key that you have in cold storage somewhere. And you cannot reverse engineer that. You cannot find the private key with just having the information of the public key, right? So that's the two-key system of the encryption that's part of the stack. How many technologies are in the Bitcoin stack? Because it's all existing technologies that were existing before Bitcoin, but but the white paper puts it into a configuration that was original at that time. So they took existing technologies. That's question number one. And so it's a number of technologies. And the other thing, more importantly, though, is this is an interesting question. The SHA-256 hashing algorithm in fact, comes out of the government, right? So when people say, oh, Bitcoin is a CIA invention, that's false, but what they are referring to is that SHA-256 is an encryption technology that's developed by the government, correct? Can you talk about it a little bit or no?
I don't know that history too much.
Okay, you're going to play quiet. You're going to pretend like you don't know what I'm saying here, obviously, for security reasons. But nevertheless, many technologies come out of the government. The internet, of course, is government invention that came through the auspices of government funding, and a lot of the Apple technologies come out of government-funded research. So, nevertheless, because it is completely transparent and you can see all the transactions, it's not actually. It doesn't matter. Does it matter who invented Does it matter who invented Bitcoin? Speak on that a little bit.
It really doesn't matter. Exactly. The biggest cliche is always the biggest truth. We're all Satoshi. Even if it was a government agent, a government developer being part of the Satoshi group, it really doesn't matter. The Bitcoin it's already changing the world, and there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot stop it. So
I think implied is that they've got a back door or they've got a secret key or something like that. But that's wrong because it's all transparent and it would be in the code and we would already know.
Exactly, and the very big part of the design, it's very simple. The Bitcoin base layer is very simple technology. Like, we don't want it to be super complicated, so every single change would make dramatic, like a room for errors. That's the point. So we want for the base layer to be very fundamentally simple, so it doesn't break. You need very strong fundamentals, which are simple. And then you can build crazy stuff on top of it, like Lightning.
Right, and another misconception is that Bitcoin was birthed and it was an immaculate conception and it's never changed since its birth. That's false.
The most recent was a Taproot, so I remember pools are a big part of advocating for the changes because we have to be on consensus, which I love because it's like a very slow and organic, like free market consensus. So there's nobody that just comes and, hey, tomorrow we're gonna activate this upgrade, right? With Taproot, it took months and months of like the discussion in the community. For example, the pools started to signal in their blogs like, yes, we're for this change, and it took months and months to see if our clients agree. If there's nobody from the community that say, hey, Brains Pool, we don't want you to support it. So that's what I love. It's very natural, organic, free market consensus that takes a long time to.
It's very slow, and this is one reason why Silicon Valley hates Bitcoin. Is because their methodology and way of thinking is move fast and break things. But you can't do that with money, right?
We don't want to be breaking the best money ever invented. You know, it's like it's a good thing. It's unbreakable. It's a good thing.
Okay, I'll ask you one more question. So there was a debate last year between Michael Saylor and Cathie Wood. So Cathie Wood is a money manager. She runs ARK Invest, and she supports the core developers of Bitcoin, the people who are actually doing the things that you're talking about. They're developing Bitcoin to add into it and to make it more useful, like adding Lightning Network and things like that. And there's another school of thought which they refer to this idea of ossification, that we should allow Bitcoin to ossify, that we should not touch it ever again. And Michael Saylor actually is in that camp. And he took exception with Cathie Wood and publicly kind of made a statement to that effect. What you just said sounds like you're not in the ossification camp.
It's not possible to not change anything. To give you 2 examples, there's a bug that in like 100 years there's gonna happen something. Like there's something we need to fix. We just need to. We have to fix. And then from the mining perspective, So the current standard of mining protocol, just fancy way to say how machines communicate with the pool, is a human readable, not end-to-end encrypted JSON format. Just imagine state actors sitting on the ISP level and doing bad things. So we 100% know we need, moving forward in the next 100 years, we know we need better standard, which is Stratum v2, end-to-end encrypted binary format. So those things are definitely happening. They must. But yes, they will take a lot of time, a lot of feedback, a lot of making it better so that it happens. So there are things that must happen in Bitcoin. It will never just stay as is. And it's a good thing, but it will take a lot of time.
Was Bitcoin invented or discovered?
Think whatever you want to believe in, guys. You know, I'm not here to tell you how to think or how to feel. Bitcoin is, and that's the most important thing.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I think we'll close it out on that note. Thanks so much for brains. Thank you.
And please find Frida. We're raffling 2 mini miners. And catch you soon. Thank you, Max. Thank you.
All right. Well, I got some new cigars. So that's there. That's pretty good. Anyone want to buy these for a few Satoshis? I'll sell them right now. No? Fiat? No. No. You gave me something. Didn't you give me a gift yesterday? So, what's your name? Tanya? Tammy. So I saw Tammy last night. She says, here's a gift. And it's a jar of spices. Montreal spices, which, okay, work with me on this. You know, it's like probably $7 at the supermarket next to Tim Hortons in Canada, right? There's Tim Hortons, and then there's some shop, and they're selling the spices. But it was wrapped in $35 worth of fiat money that you used as wrapping paper. I said, this is the most ingenious gift I've ever got in this space. It's like, because this has value. I can put this spice into my beef here and make it spicier. The paper used to wrap it is worthless pieces of shit. It's $35 today. It'll be worth $0 in 2 months. Right? That's the point. It was genius. It's all plastic now. You can't rip it up. It's like, I have to find new ways to destroy worthless money. Fire. Just walk through Los Angeles and everything will burn for you. You don't have to even try. How much time do we have? I don't know. What is it? Lunch coming up? Food? What? Any questions for me? I'm on a riff. Anyone want to know anything? Anything you want to know about God? Bitcoin? Yes, young lady? About $1 million, I believe. About $1 million. They say over the next 100 years, 90 years. No, as you just learned, you can plug in a machine and be in the mining. I mean, the obstacle to it is the cost of energy. If you want to like really become serious, so you need really the cheapest energy possible. And that's one reason why El Salvador is becoming a big player in the global Bitcoin mining business, is because we're going to develop our geothermal mining, which once it's all up there and installed, it's almost zero, right? It's just the volcanoes are never going to stop being volcanoes, so we can tap into that to increase our Bitcoin stake. So that's one of the big factors. And as a matter of fact, the other big industry that needs energy and computer power is the data mining and data energy for artificial intelligence. So you have both Bitcoin miners and also AI companies are looking at El Salvador. Oh, you've got geothermal energy. Let's come down here and do some AI. So, and one of the projects that I have working is I call Bukele in a box. So you take all of President Bukele and you encode who he is, his personality, his thoughts, his thinking, his history, his speeches, his writings, and you put it through an AI mechanism, and then you create an oracle called Najib Bukele. And if you're the president of Colombia or Argentina and you have a problem, you don't have to call President Bukele. Just ask Bukele in a box. And just say, I've got all these gangs in my neighborhood. What do I do? He'll say, well, Max, what you do is you put them all in jail. They say, it's Bukele in a box. It's all very simple. Questions out there? Yes, sir? Which bank? My bank? Am I opening a bank? I'm opening up a sperm bank. I don't know if you've heard about this, but I'm trying to repopulate Central America to be, everyone's going to have my look like me, and it's going to be an army of Max Kaisers. And so I've been working hard on this. Every night, I'm working really hard to populate the sperm bank as aggressively as possible. Stacy helps me, of course, and I think a few months will be ready to go. So anybody out there who wants to, give birth to a mini Max, come on down to the sperm bank, and we'll get you fitted out. And Max is a great name. Just name whatever, male, female, Max or Maxine, makes no difference. It's all the same. Be my DNA. Yes. Of course I have thoughts about that. Well, okay, and then after this, I'll let you go. So the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve in the United States of America. So, El Salvador and President Bukele set off a global firestorm and a global race, the Bitcoin hash race. Everyone wants to get Bitcoin as a strategic reserve because they realize that this is the future and you can build an incredible economy on top of the Bitcoin stack. The Bitcoin layer is perfect money and perfect collateral. So now there's a race. Oh, we want to be the winner of this race. We want the most Bitcoin. So the United States is like, oh, we're going to get 1 million Bitcoin. The thing about the United States is that they have a bit of a problem in that if they do have a Bitcoin standard and they do have a Bitcoin strategic reserve, it kind of doesn't speak well to the dollar, right? I mean, the dollar is a world reserve currency, and you're saying outright that there's something better than the dollar. It's called Bitcoin. So why would I hold dollars? They're saying, well, we're going to back the dollar with Bitcoin. I'm like, Well, you've got $140 trillion in debt plus unfunded liabilities, so you would have to create like a $200 trillion revolving lending facility, refinance your entire economy, extend and pretend it out for the 20 years time it would take you to buy 1 million Bitcoin, and everyone's going to have to agree that this is a good idea. And there's going to be a bit of a 24-month depression to account for the complete disruption this is going to cause. But it's a great idea, but you're going to actually do this, and maybe they will. Maybe they will. But when I hear Trump saying we're going to buy Greenland, we're going to buy the Panama Canal, I'm like, dude, stop thinking like Trump, the real estate developer, and just print money and buy Bitcoin and shut the fuck up. But he's like, oh, we're going to rebuy the Trump Hotel in Washington. It's like, it's going to zero against Bitcoin. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I know it got me a $500 fee to go speak at a conference, but I don't really know anything about it. My son talks about it like he knows something about it. And they launched my own shitcoin, the Trump whatever it was coin. Shitcoining is a disease. We're going to open a Shitcoiners Anonymous meetings here in El Salvador to help people overcome their shitcoin addiction. And hopefully this will pave the way for a greater understanding of sobriety, monetary sobriety in Bitcoin. It's a path toward monetary sobriety and peace of mind. You can't have peace of mind if you have a pocket full of fiat money. It's like carrying around crack cocaine. You're not going to be like, oh, I've got some crack cocaine in my pocket. Of course you're going to smoke it. You're just not going to carry it around. If you've got fiat money in your pocket, you're carrying around essentially monetary syphilis, right? And when you get syphilis, when you get gonorrhea, when you get herpes, it's monetary herpes, the dollar. It's like you never get rid of it. It's like it stains you forever. Don't touch it. Don't let your kids touch fiat money. You get a monetary sexually transmitted disease forever. There's no cure, right? All right, I'm going to break it up. I'm going to break it off. Thanks so much for this part. I think we're going to do a lunch break, and then we'll have some more fun later on. Thank you. Yeah, one of our sponsors is Azteca Bank. Ricardo Salinas Pliego is a big golfer, international golfer. He couldn't make it. He sent some of his people, but he sent this doll of him. Welcome. We'll talk to him a little later on. All right, welcome back, Max and Stacy Invitational. I'm Max Kaiser, and we're all happening here at the El Encanto Country Club in El Salvador. We had on earlier Brendan Martin. This is the book of Max here. This is his iconographic images that he created for this book. And you see me on the cover, and we can talk about this at some point as well. And I think Frida's going to send over some guests for us to talk to as we get into the afternoon, the beautiful weather. I was out on the golf course, and the competition is fierce. We've got folks shooting brilliantly, and I think the winning score will be 8 under par. 8 under par. What is your guess? What do you think the winning score will be?
I don't know about.
Okay, I don't know. Lillian, what do you guess?
10 under par.
10 under par. What do you say?
I don't know either.
Sure. Okay. How about at this table? What do you think the winning score will be?
Probably 9 under par.
9 under. And your thoughts?
I'll say 8.
8 under. Okay. How's the food?
Delicious.
What are you eating? What? Tastes like home. Where is home?
Canada.
Okay, you're a Canadian refugee? Are you ready to move here permanently? Are you fed up with the socialist policies and politicking? And
It keeps on going so much.
Yeah, it's about to change. Trudeau's on his way out.
Oh, Trudeau's on his way out. And is Pierre, the conservative, going to be winning?
It looks like it, yeah.
Are you supportive of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Will the Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? How about you? Do you think the Maple Leafs, the Toronto Maple Leafs, will win the Stanley Cup in 2025-2026 season?
Well, I don't think the Canadians have been having a lot of success. So
That's the right answer. Yes. Canadian hockey is in disarray. Canadian hockey is shit.
But it started in Canada.
It started in Canada, and now you can't. Now Trump wants to buy Canada. So just because we get better hockey players. Okay. So how do you feel being an American now?
It's not done yet.
Not done. Do you want it to happen?
I'd say, like, I see.
This is not a hard question. Do you want your country to lose its sovereignty to America? And you're thinking about it. I would think you would say no right away, but you're thinking about it?
I wouldn't say yes right away. I think we have some, like, discussions.
So there's a deal. So what if we offered to buy you for 57,000 tons of maple syrup?
Well, we are the one offering it. It's not you guys.
That's the right answer. Correct. All right. So this isn't going to be an easy negotiation. The people in Canada are very smart about this. Why are you doing this? Who is we? Sure. Okay. Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes, no. There. Perfect. Thank you. How about you, sir? Where are you from?
North Carolina nowadays.
Oh, right. I know North Carolina very well. What brings you here? Just the golf or the Bitcoin or both?
Girlfriend is golfing. I'm waiting, enjoying the pool.
Are you aware that the golf tournament is taking place right now and you're not actually on the course?
Correct.
You don't care?
No.
Okay, fine. But so, fine, that's fine. We don't want to disturb this man. He's chilling out. He's in a deep chill. Well, I know that Frida said, oh, go on stage and we'll start it up and we'll get a guest. And here I am. I'm on stage. Okay, I'll just continue doing this then. We're having fun. We don't need guests. Hello. Where are you from?
I'm from here.
You're from here.
Yes. From
Fantastic. How is the food?
It's good. It's really good.
Fantastic. What is your favorite Salvadoran dish to prepare?
To prepare.
Not to prepare. Let's say to eat.
To eat empanadas.
Empanadas. Very good. But they're not Salvadoran, are they? They're Argentinian.
I think the difference is these ones are made with plantain and the other ones are made with corn or something like that.
Can anyone verify this? Is this true? These are Salvadoran empanadas, and they're made with plantain. Okay, that makes it Salvadoran. Are you a big fan of the plantain empanadas here in El Salvador?
We have two types.
Hold on. You say they're the best?
There are the best. You have with sweet plantain and you have with beans. You have to try them.
I mean, you're staring at me like a death ray. Like, if I disagree who's got the best empanadas, I'm going to explode into a fiery ball of flames and disappear. I mean, this sounds like a very fierce rivalry on the empanada front. Who's winning the empanada war right now?
El Salvador, no doubt.
You're winning without doubt. Okay. Who's your main rival? Who's the main rival in the empanada space?
Well, in Central America, we are the only ones.
The only one. But there is another empanada-centric country. Do Argentina or Colombia or any of these other countries?
Those are different type of empanadas.
You don't even want to call them an empanada. You're like, they don't even deserve the name of empanada. It's just an imposter. It's just not even worth mentioning. Well, over here, who else? Have you all read this book? The Book of Max? Do you know this book? Some of it is wisdom, and some of it's vulgar. Do you want to hear the wisdom part or the vulgar part? We'll start off with some wisdom. You don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. Okay, I am the author of that quote, not Michael Saylor. It's important to know that almost everything Michael Saylor says that sounds smart, I said first. Okay, I want you to know that. When next time you see Michael, remind him of that. Let him know that I'm down here telling people that. Now on the vulgar side, there's my favorite, my favorite here. Does everyone know who Rachel Maddow is? She's a left-wing commentator on CNBC in the United States. It's part of the dying woke world that's dying. And this is very simply, nobody can jerk off to Rachel Maddow. Right? I think that's fair. It's maybe a little vulgar, but I think it's fair. Here we have Bitcoin as the G-spot of money. Right? Do people still talk about the G-spot? Right? It used to be big in the 70s and 80s. Apparently, it's a mysterious spot that is, an erogenous zone. And you have, again, Martin, the house artist for us. It's this famous Farrah Fawcett poster from the 70s. I actually had one of these Farrah Fawcett posters from 1977. And with Farrah Fawcett's face, we see the lovely Stacy. Stacy is doing the Farrah Fawcett modeling. What else did I say? It's kind of like for thousands of years, humanity was trying to find money's G-spot. And finally, with Bitcoin, they found it. So there's a lot of women that can relate, right? They can relate to that? Is that, so you can't find the G-spot, they can't find it? Guys, have men become more educated or they're still looking? Here's, this is too vulgar. Are you okay with this? Because your arms are crossed and you look like you're about to throw a hatchet into my skull. Or are you just chilling out? You're just kind of nodding out? You look fierce. I don't want to offend anybody. And you're all lawyers at this table. I don't want to go to jail. You're going to sue me. I don't want that to happen. Because if this table sues me, I'm going to get that table over there with my other lawyers to sue you, and you're going to be suing each other. You know that old story about the lawyer moves into town, goes broke,
Second lawyer moves in, they both get rich. Is that true? Are lawyers just like to? I always ask, I know Arius. Every time I go over there and say, I just want to sue somebody. I don't care who. Just anybody, I'll sue them. Because not here. Who's a good person to sue if I'm just a novice at suing people? Who do you recommend? Like doctors? They seem to be a target these days. Malpractice? Don't get mixed up with that. All right, here's one. Bitcoin is fuck you money. I did not write that. That's somebody else came up with that. I don't know who. But that's a famous Bitcoin phrase. The vulgar one? Oh, boy. You're really going to drag me down there, aren't you? Oh, my God. Okay, here we go. You know what I say? When they go low, I go lower. There's really no end. There's no depth to the low, how low I can go. And the 10 rules of success, that's a good one. All those books you buy, How to Be Successful? I have condensed all of my years into 10 rules. Yeah, we're going to get to it. I'm looking at the most vulgar. Oh, here it is. This is go sun your balls, right? Go sun your balls. Sunning your balls is a Bitcoin tradition. And now, thanks to wokeism, women can also participate in sunning their balls. So it's not gender specific anymore. Yeah. Both sexes can sun their balls. Bitcoin is the seducer. Bitcoin is the G-spot in a loving way. And the graphic here is good. Here we have 10 rules of Bitcoin. I'm going to have to do a hot swap out of my shades into my spectacles. There we go. Seamless. Just like I'm a professional. I can switch out my glasses. I don't need to go into a tizzy, a fit. I just switch them out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. 10 rules of success. Max's 10 rules of success. 1, never trust banksters. 2, sun your balls as often as possible. Trust Satoshi. Shitcoins only exist to steal your Bitcoin. Conquer fear and you'll find true love. See, that's deep. See, I mixed it in with, I put the deep one in with the funny one. See, slipping and sliding into your mind. You're still thinking about the balls, and I slipped in the love. So I'm hypnotically getting into your subconscious mind. And I'm stealing your thoughts to mine Bitcoin and stealing it from your unconscious. I have your private keys. If the devil calls, hang up. Trust your intuition. Coffee is God's gift to us all. Stack Bitcoin and you'll never have to grow up. I'm a good example of that. And then I put an ad in for Swan Bitcoin, of course, because they produced this book. They made this book. Bitcoin can get as big as the world's hunger for peace. The world is starving for peace, and Bitcoin is just getting started. All right, what do we have here? It looks like it's time for lottery. What do we got here, Frida? Books and the shirts, yeah. Oh, these are all lottery prizes? Yes. Oh, fantastic. Are we going to draw the lottery? Is it time to draw? Who's going to help me draw the lottery? Who wants to help me draw the lottery? Do you want to help me? Come on up. The stage. Join me on the stage. Please, what is your name?
Morena.
Morena? Morena.
Morena.
Morena. Fantastic. Okay, let's go over here to the ice bucket. And you go in there, and you... hold on. Let's see. This is for, we'll start off, I guess, with this book. The copy of this book, and I'll be happy to sign this book for people with lottery tickets. And here we go. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Amanda?
Last name, Amanda
Schwanenstol dot.
Svallenstocken.
I think I just dropped some acid. What the hell? Amanda! Amanda, are you there? Amanda with a long name that starts with S. Right? She's probably, okay, so what we'll do is we'll put it in the book here. Then we'll figure it out as needed. As needed. That's the way we're going to do this, because I think this is not going to be the first time we don't find the recipient. Okay, here we have 2 more books. 99 Signs You Might Be a Bitcoin Maximalist by Chris and Frida, the sponsors of the Bitcoin Sports Network, the geniuses behind it. Okay, who?
Eloisa Wilson.
Eloisa Wilson. Is that Eloisa? Come on up to the stage. Eloisa. No? There she is. She's coming. We have a winner. Come on down. Yeah. Here's your book. Okay, step on stage, please. Bring your friend. Come on. Yeah, no, stop here on stage. Let's talk to Elisa. Hello, Elisa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing better now.
Fantastic. You have won a book. Here you go. It's our pleasure. Where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Really? You came here, you're a Bitcoin fan?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is helping you become even a bigger fan?
Absolutely.
How's the food?
Magnifico.
Fantastico. Big round of applause. Thank you. Okay, you are Amanda. Where are you from? You look like you're from Australia. No. California. Okay. Close. Who's this?
Simone.
Hello, Simone. You have won a book as well, the Book of Max. Do you want this or do you want a different prize? Because maybe, it's not appropriate for our children. You have your choice. You have either one of these 2 books. This is more fun for the kids. Yeah, it's a coloring book. We'll put that over here. All right? You like that? No, you don't. You don't want that. No, that's for, you don't get both. What? You're a true Bitcoiner, aren't you? You want more. Do you stack Bitcoin? Season app? Okay, we'll let her go. Big round of applause. Thank you. Okay, we'll save this later. Moving right up. Here we have hats. Sergio the Hat Man. He has the best hats in the business. Who do we got?
Luis Esparragosa.
Say that again.
Luis Esparragosa.
Oh, there he is. All right. There's Luis. Take your pick. One of these hats. Take your picks. Just one. Take your pick. All right. Excellent. Good choice. There he is. Round of applause. You're welcome. Who else? Yes, we have work to do up here. Work. Proof of work. James Cooper. There he is. Come on up, James. Please join us on stage. Come on. James Cooper, you have one of these hats. Where are you from?
I'm from England.
Really? What part?
Live in London.
You live in London. And are you a Bitcoiner?
100%, yeah.
Okay, but you're not a golfer.
Not my cup of tea.
Oh, not my cup of tea. I see. Wow, that does a cup of tea, love. And that's fantastic. Well, you've won one of these hats. So there you go. Oh, voila. Congratulations. Round of applause. Another big winner. The third and last hat. Who do we have?
Michael Ruiz.
Oh, that's Michael Ruiz. There he is. Sovereignty Studios. Do you have this hat yet? Is it add to your collection? There he goes. Excellent. What's the prize? Let's go down here. Then we're going to leave the big, look, these are big prizes. All right. This, we'll go with this shirt first. This is the Bitcoin Sports Network shirt, casual chic. wherever you go, you'll be immediately identified as part of the emerging class of the Bitcoin deep thinkers and shadowy coders. Who gets it?
Kelly Brown.
Kelly Brown. Where is Kelly Brown? Kelly? Kelly? Kelly Brown? Okay, put this aside. Yep. Do you? There's Kelly. Kelly goes here. All right. All right, this is a cold card from CoinKite. So it's a, cold wallet, store your Bitcoin. It's a very nifty little item. Who is the winner? Will Hernandez. Will Hernandez. Okay, I'll put this aside. Over here. And our next prize is one of these 2 Brains mini miners. This is pretty heavy duty stuff. This is a very nice item. The Brains mini miner. Max Kaiser. That's fantastic. I can't believe it. I feel so lucky. Oh, I'll just put this over here next. No, that's not true. Mika Anderson. Oh, wow. Congratulations. There he is, Mika. Fantastic. You won a Brains mini miner. Congratulations. Where are you from?
San Diego.
You're from San Diego. You're with Leaf, too? Yes. Is it spelled L-I-F or L-E-E?
You spell it incorrectly. It's double E's.
Is that for people who are high that don't know how to read otherwise?
Part of the business, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You guys are marijuana adjacent business.
Yes, correct.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Big round of applause. Okay. There you go. This is, put that in your pocket. This goes together, or is this a separate one? What do you mean it's together? Oh, it's a suit. Well, let me check this out for a second. Hold on. This is very chic. This is from the 21 million. Okay. So 21 million passionate Bitcoin fashion, they are the same people behind the jackets. So, see, I'm a fashionista. I recognize that this was just not some ordinary swag. This is high-end haute couture. This is Bitcoin haute couture. You can walk into any fashion show in Paris and be immediately spotted by the fashion industry as a fashionista. And you're wearing Bitcoin appropriately with Gwyneth Paltrow and Madonna. You would look fine in that company. The critics would love it. You'd be a sensation. You'd be a fashion sensation. Now, I guess it's unisex. $8,000 retail. No, I'm sorry, it's $80. I misread that. I'm sorry. Okay, who's the winner?
It's Mopar, and the last name winning.
Mopar winning. And mining? Oh my God, this fantastic. The fashionista has arrived. This is incredible. This is a match made in heaven. Congratulations, you are now the most fashionable man in Bitcoin. Big round of applause. Oh, Will, come on. Put that in your pocket. Will came to get his, I think this is yours. Yes. Congratulations, Will. The cold card. Applause for Will. We're just missing Kelly Brown somewhere. All righty, what else we got? We got a mini miner and a book. Dun, 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 dun. My Max book, I didn't, I kept that in reserve. The mini miner.
Brains Mini Miner. The BMM 101 Mini Miner user guide, and it's got here. This is really a jewel. You know, in 5 or 10 years, this will be a collector's item. You could put this in a museum of modern art. You could put this. This is a true legacy of the revolution that is Bitcoin. Who's the winner?
Heather Schmilt.
Heather Schmilt. Schmilt. Heather. Calling Heather to the stage. Heather once, Heather twice. I know it's tempting, isn't it? Well, I mean, that would be, I have to get my lawyer to rule on that. I think that would put me in you're my lawyer. What? You're my lawyer for what? You're asking me to break the law? What's